Good morning. Buenos dias. First of all, with those veterans or active duty with us this morning, please raise your hand so we can acknowledge and thank you for your service to our great country. Where's Frank Stefano? Where are you, Frank? Raise your hand. Frank is a 94-year-old veteran that drove himself all the way here. Good morning. Buenos dias. First of all, with those veterans or active duty with us this morning, please raise your hand so we can acknowledge and thank you for your service to our great country. Where's Frank Stefano? Where are you, Frank? Raise your hand. Frank is a 94-year-old veteran that drove himself all the way here. Thank you all for your service. And of course, our hero, former chair of the Veterans Committee, Congresswoman Susan Davis, that was a major factor in lifting Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Thank you for being with us, Congresswoman Davis. I stand before you as a Latino man, as a member of the LGBTQ community, as a Catholic, as a senior citizen, as a voter, as an American. I stand before you today from a generation that has lived through the McCarthy era and those homosexual government witch hunts of the 1950s. As one who has lived through the hate crusades of Anita Bryant in the 1960s. Lived through a time till 1976 in California alone with just a stroke of a pen and the signature of your parents or a judge, LGBTQ Americans were committed to state hospitals, with many subjected to electric shock treatment and, yes, lobotomies, never to return the same. Many of us come from the times of John Briggs and his crusade to get all LGBT teachers fired from our public school system. I stand before you today to say this is much more than trying to remove the name of Harvey Milk, who was a true American civil rights icon, a veteran of the Korean War, who was stationed in San Diego in the 1950s and was a proud Jewish American. Right here is the hat of an officer would be wearing on the USNS Harvey Milk. In October of 2011, when they lifted the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we immediately, here it started in San Diego, did a national letter writing campaign to the Secretary of Navy to name a ship after Harvey Milk. He did it, and now here we are today. We stand today to say something is very wrong in America. When ICE can storm into the peaceful neighborhood of South Park and almost cause a riot. When ICE can go into our churches and schools and remove children, mothers, and families by force. When Jewish Americans are killed in our nation's capital and viciously attacked in Colorado. When a woman's clinic in Palm Springs is set on fire. Something is really wrong in America when our black and brown history is being erased. When our government is even shutting down LGBTQ youth suicide hotlines. You know, a few years ago, when our human rights campaign declared, and I quote, a national LGBT state of emergency in America. I said no at that time, that a war has been declared on our LGBT community, and indeed it has. And it has been declared by our very own government. I asked the President, the Secretary of Defense, will you also be removing the name and statue of openly homosexual Revolutionary War hero Baron von Stephen, a statue that right in the front of the White House is in Lafayette Park? Will you be erasing that too and taking that statue down? We have gathered here today as we were gathering this month and marching in cities across this nation to say to this administration, we of the LGBT community will never be erased. Never. For we have been subjected to hate, attacks, homophobic crusades, killings since the beginning of time. But history is on our side. We are indeed a resilient community. So read my lips. We are never, ever going back into the closet.
Right.